Alright, so welcome back. This is a topic that is near and dear to me, and I think I'll just call it like real relationships, real talk, something along the lines of that. I know it's really late, and let's just say that visiting my friend, who I'm coming back from, is definitely worth it. There's a lot of things that we caught up on, because we spent like easily 2 hours talking, and the time just literally flew right on by, because I had gotten down there just after 3, but it wasn't until like 4:50 that I ended up leaving. So yeah, not quite 2 hours, but you know what I mean. The time flew by like it was nothing. The thing is, it's harder and harder to have these conversations, because the friendships, the relationships, all of that, they take time, energy, all of this that can last if we take the steps to invest and work on this. You all know that, though. The painful part, though, is just what happens when we move away. What happens when things change, or we're on opposite sides? How do we move forward in the coming years, and how are we able to make more friends to replace those that we've lost? The thing is, there will always be losses, but in order to move forward, one of the best encouragements to have is simply to make new memories over the old ones. And as we keep going forward in the future into the digital age, the ability to sit across from one another may actually decrease. It may just simply not be there, up until the point where you realize this, and you realize that you've lost the opportunity to, or the ability to just simply have something real. Even if you disagree with others, that's fine. It's not like it matters on who's right or who's wrong in light of the friendship or the relationship in and of itself. You can still be there and not on the same page, as long as you two can actually communicate. Me and my friend Anthony, he's one of the best friends I've had. And I can't remember when we first met up, but it was I want to say it was in one of the youth groups or men's groups or something like that. Actually, no, never mind. It was, what was it called? I just remember the name of it too. I mean, remember what it was, excuse me. Bible study community, Fellowship Bible Study, BFS, Bible Study Fellowship. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called, but it was for students. Man, I haven't been there in years. Basically, once the leadership left and they changed, handed over the reins to the younger leadership, me and Anthony both just left. The change was there, and we saw it. Not necessarily saying the writing's on the wall, but like everything that we had come to love, and the men that we had come to know and talk to, they were moving on with their lives. And, well, I believe Anthony still talks with them, but I moved out of the area, the immediate area. I live almost an hour away. It's, as you can see, it's getting darker now. Oh, man. So, anyway, moving on. These friendships far as those who do not share the same faith, this comes across a little bit differently, because respect has to be there, not just simply communication and a willingness to talk and be open or transparent, as I say. This whole thing about vulnerability is something that I strongly disagree with, because you're opening yourself up like transparency, but you're doing so in a way where you can be attacked and damaged and hurt in some way. Like, there could be fallout and you can't do anything about it. That's the problem with vulnerability. So, being able to discuss the real issues and problems and all that, they are needed. And for that to actually grow, it's almost like, and this is something that we had covered in the conversation though, it's almost like people don't simply want to, they don't want to meet up face to face, they don't want to invest in it, too tired, too ready to jump onto the next best thing, or as my friend said, wanting to jump on to Mr. Perfect right around the corner. I don't think he said exactly that, but the idea being, it's hard to, he noticed that it was hard for there to be any forward progress with the dates and all that. And he's honestly one of the best well-groomed, handsome men I've ever seen. He's on point with a lot of what he says and how he looks and all that. So, like, everything is there. It's just that the fact that even he's noticing the issues that are popping up here is something that is worth mentioning. But him and I could sit down and have a conversation for hours and actually enjoy it and walk away doing better. That's not something that can be easily replicated. This stuff takes time. Like, this is not like popping in a movie or something and just, you can see it play out, but this is not something that will just pop out of nowhere. It's almost like people forget that relationships not just simply have an expiration date, but that they also, they take longer than plants to grow, I can't think of any better analogy than that, but like literally, plants take a very long time to grow and mature. And so this aspect with relationship, it's almost very similar. You can agree on some things, you can talk about some things, but whether or not you and the other person can actually connect on some level and keep coming back for more, that's on both of you. You both have to go halfway. None of this stuff is actually new though. What I am trying to say that is new though is the whole part about common ground and being able to look forward past whatever potential parts and problems and all of that. Especially if you're trying to talk to someone and have a clear discussion on something that you disagree with or that you flat out don't like. I've talked to quite a few people. It doesn't matter if they're crazy pink-haired feminists. It doesn't matter if they're Muslims. It doesn't matter as far as the gender, all of that stuff. Gender, race, beliefs, it doesn't matter. You find something there. And obviously, if you're going to be hooking up with anyone like this in the same group that you're in, there's going to be something there already. Because chances are you're not going to just come across crazy random people in life from nowhere. Unless you're like standing in line at like Food Line or Walmart or whatever and something happens, and yeah, that's rare, and that is like an exception. Oh man. So the conversation I had with a pink-haired feminist at this museum years ago that I was working at temporarily comes to mind, because him and I, we're on two different pages, but we had a very genuine conversation. We were able to walk away shaking hands and say thank you for the conversation. We did that. I was respectful. I was in uniform. Me and my friend here, we're going to disagree on some things because of what we see and what we value and all of that. But some of our struggles were actually genuinely the same. Loneliness and to depression. It comes from, even though we're on different paths, different walks of life, sometimes we can see the same issues that we ourselves either are dealing with or have dealt with in the past. So listing some of these examples is a little hard because I'm not trying to violate privacy here or go into things that I don't have permission to talk about. Privacy is something that I actually value more, just because I didn't realize how much it could cause issues and problems with friends. And it's not that I'm not insensitive, it's that I think I'm being sensitive, but I'm just not careful. Being careful is, well, let's just say those closest to us will always hurt us, but it's always unintentionally for the most part. You're never actually going to want to try to hurt others that you care about. And for someone like me, let's just say I'm good with words, but when in a social setting, I can be very like, my bad, I didn't mean to say it like that. Like, it makes sense to me in my head, but saying it out loud, sometimes it just doesn't connect well. It's not it doesn't translate well from in my head to through my mouth, and something gets lost in the translation there. Oh man, all those the mistakes that you make when you're trying to talk to someone, be like, yeah, that thing over there, oh my bad. And you just like the biggest blunder ever. That's kind of funny. But yeah, for the most part here, these friendships and relationships are rare, but it's just, I hope you get what I'm trying to say. This stuff matters. And it doesn't matter if you fail or not. It doesn't matter. This is not about succeeding. This is about planting seeds that will grow and grow and grow and bloom into something that you can take further down the road. These friendships and relationships can last for the rest of your life. More so if you're planted in the area. In my own parents' bathroom, there's I don't even know what you would call it. It's like on a block of wood with this really awesome saying, bloom where you are planted. And frankly, there's very few people ever being planted these days, or even blooming. Too much fear, too much depression, just too much in general. But here's the thing, we do need adversity in order to grow. We need the challenge, we need all of that, so we know where we stand, what we're missing, what we're lacking. All of these problems, they come into play when you see what you're up against. You see it that much more clearly when you have something that stands before you in your way. It could be a challenge, it could be a minor roadblock, it could be opposition of some kind. They're not all going to look the same, they're not all going to be the same. And some people, they bring their own problems to the table, so to speak, to the relationship, to the friendship. I think a friendship is the easiest thing to maintain, just because you don't live with the other person, generally. Now, if you do end up living with the other person who is your best friend, you may not leave as best friends. Oh man, it's kind of funny when you hear about some of like the horrifying, or you see some of their horrifying habits that they have. And it's just like, I never knew you were like that. I didn't know you were a pig or a slob and you left things lying around. Oh, I stepped on that and broke a toe. You know, like the people who, yeah, it's just all the funny things. Oh man. So, you can talk about that for a while too, but whatever. Hopefully get the point that I was trying to make. Well, I think I'm going to focus on driving 100% now. like talking to a friend I haven't talked to face to face in months. It really is. These kind of friendships, they may be the hardest to set up, but they are worth the most. At least in my opinion, anyway. Alright, until next time.